Let me tell you something. There's nothing quite like being called a thief in your own driveway, right in front of the folks you wave to every morning, the same neighbors who'd borrow your lawnmower and bring it back with just enough gas left to start a fight. That's how it started for me. Humiliated, accused, made a spectacle out of for washing my own damn car, but instead of flying off the handle, I decided to get methodical sharp. Surgical even. One move, that's all it took. And by the end of it, the whole neighborhood had to look at itself in the mirror, and trust me, they did not like what they saw. So picture this one of those North Carolina mornings that almost feels too nice to end badly. Sun bouncing off the rooftops, a couple of kids' bikes tipped over in the grass, and you can smell somebody's mower from 3 houses down. I had my playlist running, just washing down my black Lexus RX, my pride, my reward for 5 years of saving, 3 years of paying off loans, and finally letting myself have something nice. Soap bubbles sliding down the side mirrors. My old teacher's playlist humming in the background felt almost like therapy. I wasn't in a hurry, had the whole day off from the high school, figured I'd treat myself to a clean car and a peaceful mind. And then I saw her. Cheryl Donovan, arms folded, mouth set, standing at the curb with her phone out, recording me like she was filming a wildlife documentary on suspicious driveway mammals. "Excuse me," she calls out, sharp as a knife. "Whose car is that?" I blinked, honestly thinking she must be joking. "Mine," I said, still clutching the towel. "That's not possible," she snapped, taking a step closer, zooming in on her phone. "That car doesn't belong to you. I know everyone here, and I've never seen you drive that vehicle." There wasn't a lick of humor in her eyes, just accusation. Now my first instinct was to laugh. Brookmead was full of harmless pranksters, but Cheryl, nah, she was serious. "You're serious?" I asked, eyebrows halfway up my forehead. "Don't play smart," she said. "I'm calling the authorities. We don't need strangers stealing property in this neighborhood." "Strangers?" I almost choked. "Cheryl, I live here. 208 Meadow Court." I even pointed at my own front door, the same one I painted sage green last spring by myself in the rain, because I'm stubborn like that. Cheryl kept filming, eyes wild. "I've lived here 22 years, never seen you or that car. That belongs to the Bensons. They used to live 2 houses down." I tried to keep calm, explained the Bensons sold it to me 3 years ago, but she wouldn't have it. By now, the audience had grown a guy pretending to walk his dog, another neighbor peering from her porch. My stomach twisted up, that familiar cold embarrassment creeping in. "Can you please stop recording me?" I asked, trying to keep it together. "If you're innocent, you've got nothing to hide," she shot back. So I said, "If you think I stole my own car, call whoever you want. I'll wait right here." And she did. 10 minutes later, there's blue lights at the end of the cul-de-sac. The officers get out. Cheryl waves them over like she's just caught a bank robber. There, that's her. She's trying to steal that Lexus. I stood my ground, handed over my license and registration, everything checked out, of course. Officer gave Cheryl a look like he'd seen this movie before. "Ma'am, this car belongs to her." Cheryl went red, stammered. "That can't be right. She doesn't live here long enough to own something like that." I just said, "Long enough." The officer told her, "There's no crime here, ma'am. Go about your day." Neighbors disappeared as fast as they'd come out, but Cheryl muttered under her breath, still clutching that phone. Now you'd think that would be the end, right? I did. But you know what they say, never underestimate a person with a grudge in an audience. In Brookmead, gossip travels faster than Wi-Fi. This was the kind of place where nobody raises their voice, but everybody remembers which week you put up Halloween decorations and whether you repainted your front door with HOA approval. I moved here from Durham 3 years ago, needed a slower life, a little quiet after years in the city. Paid a bit too much for the house, but the yard was perfect, and the high school job was just down the road. What I didn't know was Brookmead came with invisible rules about paint colors, trash bins, and who looks right for the neighborhood. I joined the gardening club, brought cookies to the block party, volunteered at the HOA cleanup. But that invisible wall, still there, and folks like Cheryl made sure it never came down. I remember my first run-in with her second week here. I'd parked a little over the sidewalk unloading groceries. Cars aren't supposed to block pedestrian space, she said. No hello, no smile. I moved the car, figured it was over, but found a friendly reminder in my mailbox that evening. After that, the notes kept coming. Recycling bin, too visible. Passive-aggressive posts on the HOA Facebook group about certain people not reading the rules. Never said my name, but everybody knew. But this wasn't passive-aggressive. This was a public accusation. And you could feel the shift, the whispers, the sideways glances, the judgment. My phone buzzed at noon. My friend Marcia across the street. Cheryl posted in the HOA group, said you were in a vehicle dispute. You okay? I checked. There it was. Cheryl's post vague but pointed. Please report suspicious activity. Incident this morning involving a vehicle and an unidentified individual. Police were called. Let's stay vigilant. Didn't use my name, but everyone knew. The comments stung. Glad someone's keeping an eye out. That's why we pay HOA fees. Marcia tried to defend me. I know Tanya, she's lived here for years, but that got drowned out. You could feel the chill of isolation being labeled before anyone asks your side. I tried to keep my cool, told myself facts went out. But when Principal Warren at school emailed, said someone forwarded a video of me with the police. That's when it hit me. Cheryl had shared it. Parents were texting me. It wasn't just a misunderstanding anymore. I was the neighborhood problem. That night I stood in my driveway looking at my car, the one I'd worked for, and I made a decision. I turned on my phone, looked into the lens and said, "My name is Tanya Rhodes. I live in Brookmead, North Carolina. Yesterday my neighbor accused me of stealing my own car. Here's what happened. Calm, clear, just the truth. I posted it online, never meant for it to go viral, just wanted my side on record. But by the next day, the video had exploded 10,000 views and counting, spreading across Facebook, Reddit, even TikTok. Folks online applauded my calm, my patience, but in Brookmead things felt different. A police cruiser started parking down the block, never coming up, but always there. Cheryl started another round, posting on a fake neighborhood watch account calling me suspicious activity. Anonymous notes started showing up. You don't belong here. Leave before things get worse. That's when I got mad. Not the screaming kind, just that deep, cold enough is enough mad. I called my cousin Renee. She's a journalist in Charlotte, seen plenty of neighborhood scandals. Told her everything. She said, Tanya, this is bigger than you. This is a story that needs daylight. I printed out every message, every note, every HOA warning I'd ever received, put them in a binder labeled Incident Record. The next morning, I walked into the HOA office right during their board meeting and laid it all out. The accusations, the public shaming, the patterns. What exactly does belonging mean here, I asked. Silence. You'd think that would scare Cheryl off, but she doubled down, created more posts, more gossip, more pressure. So I started my own Facebook group, Brookmead Truth. Invited neighbors who'd ever been targeted, silenced, or humiliated by the HOA. Stories poured in unfair fines, warnings for the tiniest infractions, double standards. The same small group always behind it. Cheryl's name on nearly every document. Renee sent a news crew. My story hit Channel 9 footage of me on my porch, neighbors backing me up, HOA under investigation. Cheryl was furious, stormed up my driveway, tried to snatch my phone, but this time I was ready, recording everything. That video, her yelling, lunging me, standing calm, went everywhere. Cheryl's account vanished, her HOA role suspended. But the final reckoning came at the next HOA meeting. Room-packed, people buzzing. Howard, the president, tried to defend Cheryl. That's when a neighbor stood up, gray hair, baseball cap, said, I saw those videos. Cheryl was out of line. More joined in complaints about fines, warnings, double standards. Cheryl snapped, maybe some people don't belong in Brookmead. And that's when I stood up too. You realize everyone here just heard that. I turned to the board. You said you take accusations seriously. Here's mine. This board has let discrimination hide behind rules for years. The room erupted. Cheryl left halfway through door slamming. By the end of the week, the board released the complaint records, nearly every citation targeting the same handful of newcomers and people of color, all signed by Cheryl Donovan. Cheryl resigned. Policies changed, multiple reviewers for complaints, no more anonymous reports, diversity training. Some neighbors apologized, others just looked away, but for the first time since I moved in, I could walk down the street without shrinking. A week later, Cheryl's granddaughter knocked on my door. "I'm sorry for what my grandma did," she said, voice trembling. She was wrong. It nearly brought me to tears, not the apology, but the fact that someone in Cheryl's family could see what Cheryl never would. When the local college invited me to speak at a forum on housing bias, I hesitated. I wasn't an activist, just a school counselor who wanted peace. But I went. I told my story, told them what quiet prejudice looks like, the kind that smiles to your face and still finds a way to remind you that you don't belong. I told them staying calm wasn't brave. It was exhaustion, and silence doesn't keep peace, it protects the problem. That's how Brookmead changed. Neighbors stopped pretending, started seeing each other, really seeing. Cheryl moved away. New board, new rules. The air felt lighter, the sidewalks friendlier. And me, I started gardening again, marigolds and sunflowers along the walk. My Lexus still sparkled in the driveway, but now it looked like what it always was, something I earned, something nobody could take away. So if you're still with me, if you've ever been made to feel small or other or less than what you are, remember sometimes all it takes is standing still, staying calm, and telling your truth until people can't look away anymore. If you think peace is the same as silence, you haven't learned a thing from Brookmead. Now here's where I turn it over to you. What does justice look like where you live? Have you ever had to stand up to a neighbor in HOA or even your own family to claim your place? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Share your own story. And if you think voices like this matter, subscribe, stay tuned, and remember your voice, your dignity, your place. They matter more than anyone's assumptions.